Africa is often referred to as the cradle of humanity, but how much do we really know about its history? Zeinab Badawi's An African History of Africa takes us on a journey spanning 300,000 years, from the emergence of Homo sapiens in Eastern Africa to the end of apartheid in South Africa in 1994. Badawi, a Somali-British journalist and broadcaster, offers a unique perspective that challenges colonial narratives and reframes Africa's history through an African lens. Born in Hargeisa, Somalia, during the British colonial era, Badawi's dual identity shapes her approach to African history. She emphasizes continuity over disruption, tracing a broadly chronological path that connects ancient civilizations to modern liberation struggles. Her book begins in the Horn of Africa, where the earliest humans emerged, and moves swiftly to the Nile Valley, home to the ancient Egyptians around 3000 BC. Badawi's narrative then takes us through the Mali and Songhai empires in West Africa, the Zulu kingdom in Southern Africa, and finally to the liberation movement of the 20th century. The book's title, An African History of Africa, is deliberate. It underscores the importance of viewing African history from an African perspective, rather than through the Eurocentric lens that has dominated historical accounts for centuries. This approach challenges the colonial narrative that Africa was a blank continent before European arrival. Instead, Badawi highlights Africa's role as the birthplace of humanity and the center of early human development. One of the most compelling aspects of Badawi's work is her emphasis on continuity. Rather than presenting African history as a series of isolated tribal conflicts, she paints a picture of resilience, innovation, and adaptation. The Mali Empire, which flourished from the 13th to the 16th centuries, is a prime example. Known for its wealth, particularly in gold, the Mali Empire was a center of learning and culture. Badawi's account of the empire's rise and fall is both detailed and accessible, shedding light on a civilization that is often overlooked in Western histories. Similarly, the Songhai Empire, which succeeded Mali, is given its due attention. Under leaders like Askia the Great, Songhai became a major power in West Africa, expanding its territory and fostering a vibrant intellectual culture. Badawi's narrative does not shy away from the challenges faced by African civilizations, including external invasions and internal conflicts. However, she consistently emphasizes the resilience of African societies and their ability to adapt and thrive. The book's coverage of Southern Africa is equally compelling. Badawi delves into the history of the Zulu kingdom, which rose to prominence in the 19th century under the leadership of Shaka Zulu. Known for his military prowess, Shaka transformed the Zulu into a formidable force, but his legacy is complex. Badawi explores both the achievements and the controversies surrounding Shaka's reign, providing a nuanced portrait of a pivotal figure in African history. As the narrative progresses, Badawi connects ancient history to modern political struggles. The book concludes with the end of apartheid in South Africa in 1994, a momentous event that marked the culmination of decades of resistance against racial segregation and oppression. Badawi's account of the liberation movement of the 20th century is both inspiring and sobering, highlighting the enduring fight for freedom and self-determination. The impact of An African History of Africa extends beyond its pages. The book has been widely reviewed in academic journals like the Journal of West African History and Caucus Reviews, indicating its significance in historical scholarship. It has influenced how African history is taught in universities, particularly in the UK and Somalia. Badawi's work has also reached a global audience through reviews in The Guardian and Goodreads, where it holds a rating of 4.2 out of 5 based on over 1,000 ratings. One of the most striking aspects of Badawi's book is her personal connection to the material. As a Somali-British historian, she brings attention to the Horn of Africa, a region often marginalized in mainstream African history narratives. Her background allows her to frame African history as a continuous narrative of resilience, rather than a series of disconnected events. This perspective is particularly important in a world where African history is often misunderstood or oversimplified. The Journal of West African History's review of the book highlights its historiographical importance. Reviewers like Dr. Mark Dietz, Dr. Madina Tayem, and Dr. Nana Kess emphasize the book's engagement with interpretation, meaning, and the broader implications of African history. Their critique underscores the book's contribution to academic discourse and its potential to reshape public memory. In conclusion, An African History of Africa by Zeinab Badawi is a monumental work that reframes African history through an African lens. It challenges colonial narratives, emphasizes continuity and resilience, and connects ancient civilizations to modern liberation struggles. The book's impact on academic discourse, public memory, and global understanding of African history cannot be overstated. It is a must-read for anyone interested in Africa's rich and complex past.